freight train rolling, bringing truth bombs down the line. Promoting the Southland 1 week at a time. Promoting the Southland 1 week at a time. SCV chat starts now.
Now.
Welcome. Big no, we haven't even started the week right yet. Welcome to SCV Chat. It's 7 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, so you know what time it is. It is time for us to just completely screw up the intro every time we've done it. And we've been doing this for almost 2 years, so that's awesome. All right.
Have we screwed up this time?
I said the intro backwards. So,
oh, my bad. Your fault.
Yeah. So before we begin, please remember, views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV. It's GEC, nor any division, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. So how is everybody doing? We got Cousin Vinny, the legend, Paul Gramlin Jr. in the chat, plus some world-famous twins behind the scenes that we'll put up shortly. So, Matt, how have you been doing?
I've been doing all right. I've been working a lot.
That's good.
Jack, we got recruiting. You can get recruiting material from membership, or you can buy a recruiting packet from me. Call me at the store. I'll take your order, and we'll get you squared away. All right. Answered that question. Boom. Right. Knocking them out one at a time. I know, right?
We're knocking it. We also got Chuck McMichael in the chat. Good to see everybody. Mrs. Dottie Meadows is in the chat. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Well, we're about to go ahead and hop into anything. Before we get to, Connor's not feeling good, so if you guys could say a quick prayer for him that he gets better. And then now I'm going to tell Connor, if he's watching the show, if I was dealing with what you were having to deal with, I would still be on the show. So, much love, Connor. Shots have been fired. Shots have been fired already. But we have some great guests tonight. Always happy to have them on. They always have some great talking points and great ways to rally up the troops, I guess it is. So without further ado, please let me welcome Mr. Ronnie Kennedy and our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Donnie Kennedy.
Greetings, gentlemen.
Greetings.
Hey, fellas, what's up?
Well, same old thing. It's time to get into the fight, Dixie. Let's don't let the enemy run all over us without at least letting them know they've been in a battle. My Lord.
We're coming right out of the gate with fire.
Okay,
all right, let's do it.
Yeah, we want to be like the old Confederate soldiers when I believe it was General Lawrence said, y'all try to hold these Yankees back now till we get our cannons removed. And they said, well, General, we're going to either stop them or we're going to slow them down when they trip over our bodies.
All right. Some people saying, hey, is it spring break? I notice you're in the antique bed. Yes, it is spring break. So I am home in the antique bed at my grandparents' house so I can bugger off their Wi-Fi like a good grandson.
There you go. Hey, listen, you can also fix all their electrical devices they're having trouble with. That's what I get my grandchildren in the house for.
I usually do. It's kind of, if I'm going to bum off your Wi-Fi, at least I can do is help around the house, whatever y'all need.
Absolutely. Oh, my. Well,
right.
gentlemen, if you don't mind, I'm going to just jump right in there unless y'all have something else you need to tell the good folks.
No. That's what we wanted. We want you to jump right in. Get after it.
All right. Well, first thing I want to do is I need to get this out of the way before I forget it. We're doing an update on our Make Dixie Great Again website. So if y'all are having problems getting on, it's slow, things won't download. We've got about another, it looks like a week to 2 weeks that we'll be working on that site, trying to update it and improve it. So please be patient, and we will try to get that done as quick as we can. Ray Shores and his team over at Victory Flags and more, they're working with us, and we're trying to get that squared away. So please be patient and understand that 90% of this is definitely a volunteer operation, although we do have to expend a certain amount of monies to get professional help. I try to get Ron to work on the website, and heck, he can't even use a clock, much less a website. So every now and then we will have to pay for a little extra, but we're trying to get that taken care of now. So if y'all please bear with us and understand we're doing our best with volunteer crew to get all these little minor problems worked out. So
yeah,
please.
I had a chance, an opportunity to look at the new website, and it really looks impressive. But there's a many a slip between the cup and the lip, and it's just taking them a while to get it all done. And let me correct my brother. I can do a clock. It's those dang digital chronometers that I can't handle. But the old-fashioned clock, as long as you keep them lined up, I know how to use those.
Well, congratulations. I hope you remember to turn. Obviously, you remember to turn your clock forward, backwards, whatever we had to do Sunday. I wasn't late for church, so I know we did ours right. That's all I can say.
Yes, spring forward.
All right, good enough. All right, Ron and I also have a couple articles that we're working on that we're trying to get published. Ron's may be published in the Confederate Veteran. I'm not sure where mine will be published. As y'all all know, the Russia-Ukrainian war is kind of heating up now. I just got off of Fox News, and everybody there saber rattling and flag waving for trying to get us into a war, it looks like, which I know that we need to defend our country, but I'm not crazy about getting young men killed. But regardless, I have an article entitled Lincoln, Putin, and Yankee Hypocrisy, where we're looking at the similarities between the hypocrisy that's going on during the war between the states, the war for Southern independence, where, let's say, the Lincoln and the federal government said, the South didn't have a right to secede. Well, the same government that said that is now supporting the secession or the removal of Ukraine from the orbit of the old Soviet Union. And many other things such as that is hypocrisy. The Ukrainian government is opposed to the secession of the eastern provinces, which is primarily and predominantly Russian related, from Ukraine. So the government is in favor of the secession of Ukraine from Russia, but not the Russian portion of Ukraine from the Ukrainian government. So anyway, it's hypocrisy there, and it all goes back to what we have seen also in the war between the states, where the government says one thing and does another. I'm going to give you a quick example of secession, how the duplicity and hypocrisy of the Yankee Empire. In 1835, the Yankee Empire supported the secession of Texas from Mexico. They supported it and they defended it. And then later on, they allowed Texas to join the Union. Well, when Texas joined the Union, a few years later, the Yankee Empire refused to allow Texas to secede from the Yankee Union. So here they are, they're in favor of secession one time, now they're opposed to secession. Then 30 years later, a Republican president, Theodore Roosevelt, was involved in the secession of Panama from Colombia because he wanted, of course, to dig the Panama Canal. So the hypocrisy here is that yes, secession is good. No, it's bad. Yes, it's good. No, it's bad. Primarily, it's only good when the Yankees can make money from it, and it's bad otherwise. So that's what my article is kind of looking at, not necessarily trying to take side between Russia and Ukraine. Listen, those people there have Russia, for example, probably has a 900-year history. The United States, we've got a 300-year history. That whole area is so convoluted with history that it'd be hard to separate good from bad. And so I'm not getting into that, but I am looking at some of the hypocrisy of Lincoln, Putin, the Ukrainian government, and of course the Yankee Empire. That's what I'll be looking at. I hope to have it posted on some blog site pretty soon. I'll let everybody know when it's ready. Ron, what is your article?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just got my article back from the proofer, and God bless her, she earned her her money for proofing anything I write. But anyway, the title of my article is Lincoln's Vigorous War Policy, a Model for Modern Warfare. And again, very similar, like Donald said, the whole the whole thing that's going on in America today was set and established by Lincoln and his cadre of Republicans way back at the time of the war. But as you look at the things that happen, for instance, we hear about false flags. How a government leader will create a situation. The Japanese in 1937, sometime before Pearl Harbor, they created an incident in China in order to it was Manchuria, in order to invade the rest of China. Well, it was a false flag. And Hitler tried. He wasn't very good at his false flag. He had some of his SS troops dressed in Polish uniforms and go over and attack and bomb a German radio station close to and claim that was his excuse for initiating the invasion of Poland. But you see how authoritarians will always use some type of deceit in order to justify the invasion. Well, Lincoln is really the father of all false flags because of this deception that he carried on in order to get the South to fire the first shot at Fort Sumter. So I go into that a little bit to show that, hey, Lincoln is the father of false flags. Also, his vigorous war policy. Lincoln was one of the first American European leaders to endorse total warfare. That is, as Sherman said, all civilians are now guerrillas. So every Southerner, whether you were in uniform or not, man, woman, and children were all subject to being attacked by the military, and they did it quite well. Also dehumanizing the invaded people. Before they invaded the South, they had convinced the world that, or their own people in the North, that we were a bunch of, idiots, ignorant people, evil slave owners. Every one of us owned slaves and beat them on a regular basis. So they dehumanized us. And of course, once you dehumanize a population, that sets the stage for genocide, to get rid of them. Now you've got a legitimate reason to have total warfare against even the civilian population. But the important thing too to note is it's not just back then. They are still doing it today. They dehumanize SCV members. They slander us and call us racist and supporters of slavery, and they give us no opportunity to tell the truth. So they are dehumanizing even today. So it didn't stop with the war. And that's one thing that aggravates me more than anything else with SCV members who seem to have the notion, well, the war is over. We're all one big brotherhood now. Everything's okay now. Well, it's not. The war continues even today. And as our monuments come down, as we're banned from parades, you just see the cultural genocide is continuing. And ultimately, as they bring in populations from other parts of the world to take over our culture and our society, is total genocide. And I talk about crimes against humanity, and it's such a shame. Lincoln started this. Also, Grant and Sherman and Sheridan, all of them were involved in this, as well as the Yankee political leaders. But that motif, that model is followed throughout history since Appomattox. And that's the important thing. Donald and I did a book on that, Yankee Empire, aggressive abroad, despotic at home. Of course, that's what Lee said that would happen if they centralized all power in Washington, D.C. The United States would become aggressive, like all other empires, aggressive abroad and despotic at home. But a lot of people are looking at the news and they see the horrors of bombed out buildings, and it is horrible. I mean, there's no no way other than to say it's horrible. But they seem to think that the United States has clean hands. We don't have clean hands. Stop and think about how many wedding parties in the Mideast has been killed, and innocent men, women, and children killed by mistaken drone attacks. I mean, yeah, we don't have clean hands, but Lincoln doesn't have clean hands, nor any who followed there afterwards. And of course, Donald and I go into great detail in Yankee Empire, aggressive abroad, despotic at home. But the other thing is that Lincoln transformed the republic. We had a republic as established, a constitutionally limited republic of sovereign states. That's what the founding fathers gave us. And up till 1860, that's what we had. But come 1861, with the advent of Lincoln and the Republican Party taking control, and it was a minority. I think Lincoln only had, about 39% of the vote?
39.
So, I mean, but they were able to take control of the federal government, and they transformed through aggressive war, and then post-war during Reconstruction, the Republicans transformed the constitutional republic into a supreme federal government, just like Lee had predicted. And today, I don't want to sound angry, but it's upsetting to hear conservatives say, well, we've got the Constitution. No, you don't. You don't have the Constitution. The Constitution isn't self-enforcing. There's no self-government, local self-government. That died at Appomattox. Really probably died with the ascension of Lincoln to the presidency of the North. So, but that's Lincoln and the Republican Party transformed America from a constitutional republic to a supreme federal government where all authorities in Washington, D.C., and you've got a selected few of elitists in Washington, D.C., and globalists on Wall Street who control America. And it's not our country anymore. It's their country. They control it. And we've got to get it back. And that's the thing that Donald and I have been preaching now for over 30 years. So the deep state, all that is a part of the impact of the war, and that's what we're trying to. That's what I'm trying to show. Lincoln's vigorous war policy continues even today. It affects us today, both nationally and internationally. I don't know how many people realize that the United States has more military bases worldwide than any empire in world history. And we say, oh, we're a republic. No, you're not. We're an empire, whether you want to admit it or not. I'm not happy about it, but
we are an empire. We are 100% an empire.
See, you're a brilliant man. May your tribe increase, sir. But,
I'm sorry. I had to interject on that because we are 100%.
And the point is that there are, I don't know how many. There's all these secret bases, and a lot of them are biochemical, weaponized weapon facilities, secret. That you and I are paying for, and we have there's no accountability for it. And as a matter of fact, I've got one footnote in my article that shows that the United States taxpayers sent financial support to the Wuhan lab in China that developed the COVID virus. We helped pay for it. All done secretly. Where's our congressional oversight? Well, when you look at Congress, you'll see that a lot of them are getting money from the Communist Chinese Communist Party through their various industries that they own. So, we've got a problem. We've got an issue, but it all started with Lincoln and his vigorous war policy. And he turned loose on the world of the modern warfare in which the average citizen is the target. And I think I've talked enough about my article. I'm going to submit it to the Confederate veteran. I don't know if Frank Powell will want to use it. It may be too hot for him, but nonetheless.
Frank's kind of weak-kneed. You have to watch him.
Yeah.
Listen, going back to one of the points that Ron made, I do not remember the prime minister, but it was an English prime minister during the war that stated that the war, if the South lost, would change America totally, the United States, from what it was to what it would be, which really reflects what General Robert E. Lee said at the end of the war, that with the loss of the war by the South, with the destruction of real states' rights and the centralization of power in Washington, D.C., America, he said, the United States will become aggressive abroad and despotic at home. So, that's what has happened to us. And these articles we write, listen, Ron and I have often laughed about just one more article or one more book. Maybe we can save the South. It reminds me of the story in 7 Pillars of Wisdom that Ron,
T.E. Lawrence.
Thank you, Lawrence. Saw a German officer on the top of a train with a pistol that had been attacked by the Arabs. The Arabs were in full control, but you had one German officer on top of the train with his little pistol shooting at the whole Arab army. And the Lawrence looked at it, just laughed, said, "That's just like an officer. He thinks he can change the outcome of the war with his little pistol." Well, Ron and I have often laughed at each other thinking, well, just one more book, maybe we can save the South. Well, it won't happen because the South will not be saved from the situation we're in until our people, the SCV members especially, you are key to the salvation, not of just the political salvation we're talking about here, not just the South, but of America and Western Christian civilization. If SCV camps become proactive and get busy doing things that will put the enemy on their back foot, make them respond to us instead of us continually responding to them, we can be victorious. And like I say, if we save the South, we'll save America. If we save America, we'll save Western Christian civilization. And that is a big task. And it's a task I know that's not in our, quote, charge directly, but indirectly it is, because our charge tells us that we should emulate those principles that our Confederate fathers believed in and you believe in also. So that's why I'm keep saying that Make Dixie Great Again, our Confederate Legion. The Confederate Legion is part of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, is run by, supervised by the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It is not a separate organization. I've had some people, and I know Paul Gramlin will verify this, past Commander-in-Chief Paul Gramlin. We've had people after almost 6 years of this effort, or how many years? 4 years, going on 5 years of this effort. We still have people saying, "Well, I don't want to join another organization, and the SCV is not even part of the Confederate Legion." Oh my God! Do you ever read the Confederate Veteran? Do you ever watch this show? Do you ever read anything on the Telegraph? We talk about the Confederate Legion. The Confederate Legion is part of the SCV. It is run by the SCV. Ron and I have just taken on the responsibility of getting it up and going under the direction of Paul Gramlin first and Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney second. We don't do a thing without their approval. We don't run the show. We don't own the show. We are the ones who have volunteered to do this, and I'm just happy to do it. But it's part of the SCV, and if we don't get our SCV members on board working to get our narrative out, Commander Gramlin said it very well when he first was elected Commander-in-Chief, that we must take back the narrative. What does that mean? It means that we have to give our information out to John Q. Public in the South and America and give them the other side of the story. If we can do that, we can win this battle. This is a PR campaign more than anything else. And I'm going to give you an example. Now, Moose, if we need to take a break, you just holler at me. You know, once we get to talking, we love to talk. So, Jimmy,
yeah,
if you
so
need.
we'll take a Pop-Tart break in about 8 minutes, 7:35.
Okay. Good. I don't have a clock. I don't know what time is. Well, what's time to a hog? My God. Rod will understand that. But anyway,
that's an inside joke.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about how can we get our mess out, what I call being proactive. Ron, have you ever heard, has your mama ever told you an ounce of prevention is worth what?
A pound of cure.
Absolutely. Now, what does that mean, folks? It means that if you get ahead of the game, if you get on the field first and take possession of the ball and you run down there and you get old Mo on your side, guess who's going to win? Because you are in charge. We've got to learn how to get out in the community ahead of the problems. Don't wait until some idiot in your community starts a petition or goes to your county commission and says, we need to pull down that damn Confederate monument. It's racist. It's bigotry. It's put up there to support white supremacists. It's a KKK monument. Don't wait till that happens and then say, oh my God, we've got to protect our monument. Folks, what battle has ever been won like that? You've got to get ahead of the game. Ron had a great idea. Now, every now and then he comes up with a good idea. Not often, but he came up with a great idea about how here in Louisiana, for instance, and this can be replicated anywhere in the country, but how we could get polling data out to political people to put them on notice what our people really feel on these issues and get ahead of the program. Ron, can you explain a little bit of this?
Yeah, and I'm going to put the Louisiana division, all the camp commanders, all the Louisiana members of the Louisiana division on notice that, I made this discussion. It wasn't a proposition. It was discussion of what we should do at the last division executive council meeting up around Pineville, I believe we were at. But nonetheless, some of those will remember this. But what I want to do is, and the important thing is, we can probably do this for around $1,500 to $2,000. So from the Louisiana division, that shouldn't be a big thing to do. And I wanted to use it in Louisiana as an example. If it works well in Louisiana, then we can take it to the entire Confederation. Quite often we have good ideas, but there's no proof that it'll work. Well, I want proof that it'll work, and then we can take it to all the divisions across the Confederation. And the idea is very simple. Number one, we've got to get the attention of every elected conservative politician. So what I wanted to do and what I propose to do is that I can purchase 1,000 names and addresses of registered Republicans. Now, I realize but just because you're a Republican doesn't necessarily mean you're one of us conservatives, but nonetheless, it's a lot more likely than talking to Democrats. And the point is that in Louisiana, the majority of the legislature is Republican. In most of our local parishes, which would be counties up in you common law folks, and most of our parish elected officials are Republican. So what I plan on doing is sending out 1,000 a poll question, do a survey of 1,000 Republicans, asking them, are you in favor of removing Confederate monuments? Are you in favor of banning the public display of Confederate flags? Just 2 or maybe 3 questions. And in that letter, it'll be masked. It won't say Sons of Confederate Veterans or anything like that. And I can use my post office box and mask that as well. and we'll send this out to 1,000 people, and we'll probably get 100, 200 responses. You know, if you did that, you've done really great when you do a survey. But you get a response back, and then Donald and I will tally up what the percentage is, and I'll guarantee the percentage. If you're asking conservatives, you're going to get 95%. I do not want to see it done. I do not want to ban. I am proud of, are you ashamed of your Southern heritage? How many Republicans in, say, Mississippi would say a yes on that? It's going to be a no. So I'm trying to look what Chuck says. There's a bill in the list to get rid of Confederate more. Yeah. See, that's the reason we need to get a hold of these. Thank you, Chuck. We need to get a hold of these politicians. So we get the information back. Then Donald and I will do up a letter and included the results of our survey. Now, our survey is not an official scientific survey. So then Donald and I will add to it the Gallup polls and the various other polls that's been done recently, one by LSU in Louisiana, which showed that like 70% of the people said, leave our monuments alone. And we will explain. Then it'll be the camp's responsibility to mail this to every one of their conservative elected leaders in their community, as well as to the Kiwanis Club, Knights of Columbus, you name it. But the primary thing is to get it to all the elected officials. And it can't be done in drips and drabs. We're going to get it done. We're going to get the letters to the camps, and the camps on 1 week in the near future, after we complete this, that's the week you mail your letters. So it's like the shock effect. Bam, all of a sudden, every Republican elected official gets this letter showing that, and we asked them, said, look, don't going up with, I'm sorry.
Right. I got to time out. Carl just said it we would skew that because put it back up. Okay, but anyway, he said because it doesn't poll lunatics. Well, Carl, we're not polling people in Alabama. Sorry.
I'm gonna tell you. Now we just lost Alabama, boy, guys. Thanks, Don. I didn't say that, Carl. But anyway, listen, your letter that goes out to them, hush. The letter that goes out to them has to say, do not join in with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and other neo-Marxists as they are attacking our Southern heritage as well as all of our American heritage, because they're getting rid of Jefferson Davis, John Wayne, Teddy Roosevelt, etc. So the letter has got to be very clear, very straight, and almost threatening that, look, if you side with those people, then you're obviously against the 90% of the people who elected you. Now, that letter going out can get some attention. Now, it can't be a one-time thing. We've got to follow it up in Louisiana, Alabama, all the other states that do this with radio ads, with Southern defenders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a hit them in the face, bam! Wow, we got to watch out. Those Confederates, they are organized. Well, he got a letter way up there in North Louisiana, way down in Southeast, South. Everybody got these letters. That's the whole idea. And again, challenging the Louisiana division to be the first one to do this. If it's done right, if it's successful, which I know it will be, it'll be a pattern for every other division in the Confederation to use, and we can turn the tide, folks.
Yes, sir. And I hate to cut in. Y'all are on a roll as always, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned because the Kennedy twins are dropping down some great facts on how to take back the narrative as always. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and play this trailer, and we'll be back shortly.
It started about 3 years ago. A controversy began with the political correct movement that was taking place in Memphis, and forest became a lightning rod.
They created a nonprofit group, a puppet organization, went in there in the middle of the night and removed the statue in violation of a number of laws.
Even if the statue got put back up, it wouldn't last a week. Why don't we move on?
There's no one alive today that could tell us where General Forrest and Mrs. Forrest were buried.
As we were digging away the dirt from in front of the statue, we discovered a flower cradle, and it said N.B. Forrest, 1877. We uncovered both the vaults, and they were side by side.
So can you raise it just a little bit more so we can get the scrap? That's good. A little bit more.
Recognizing the enormity of the history that's involved with this, I wanted to make sure that it was done right.
This is one of those things that you can't fail on. You can't just halfway do this. You have to be invested. You have to go with it with all your heart and soul.
We're here to remember a hero, not just of the South, but an American warrior.
The line is drawn now. This is not just an attack on Confederate or Southern history. It's an attack on American history.
Before we get back into it, please remember that Prop Talk Break is brought to you by the Confederate Legion. And you can visit the Confederate Legion and join today at MakeDixieGreatAgain.org or .com. Now, someone asked before we get started, Casey asked, that reminds me, where do I go to purchase the Forrest Reinterment DVD? It's not out yet. That's the quickest way to answer that. It's not out yet, but as soon as it does get out, you can make sure to come on SCV Chat and we will let you know. We are looking forward to it ourselves. So we don't have any news on that just yet, but we will let everybody know as soon as they're either out or we have a date.
Good. Moose, Ron was making a point a while ago about the getting the information out to the representatives and the elected people, letting them know who we are. And also the most important thing beyond that is for every SCV camp to use their social media to get the information. This is what they need to do, put a post. Let's say for my camp, I'm in the McGuire camp. So I'll put on my SCV camp, my Facebook, I'm gonna put a little picture of the survey or the meeting. I say at the meeting of our camp, we discuss this survey that was done, and this is the results. And this survey has been sent, information been sent to all of our elected officials in this area. You cannot overestimate the impact that would have in and of itself. It boosts what we've already done by sending all this out using postage stamps. Now for free, we can double that effort. So you cannot overlook what we can do as individuals. And Ron hit it on the head when he said it has to be done at the local level. The SCV camps has to do this. We've got to get involved. If we can do this, if we can get every elected conservative, and when I say conservative, I'm talking about, hey, look, people that we know that are conservative. There are some Democrats out there that are very conservatives. We have them in Louisiana. They're getting fewer all the time. There are Republicans that are, most of them, a lot of them are rhinos, but they're still good. Libertarians, people like that, let them know that we know what the people feel, and now they have been put on notice both by mail and in our social media account. You cannot overlook how much the impact that would have. Now, what does that do? Will that prevent, let's say, a statue in St. Landry's Parish from being taken down? Well, it might make that whole issue just go away, because the parish commissioners may not want to deal with it because they know that in their parish, last election, the Republican candidate, the most conservative candidate, got 57% of the vote. Hey, they've been put on notice. Conservatives don't like this, and these SCV types, they're getting active. They're getting aggravated at last. We poked them too long. Now they're getting aggravated. They're gonna make my reelection, put it in jeopardy, make me spend more money than I want to spend to get reelected. So I'm just going to table this whole process. So if it doesn't table it, it will make it much easier when you go to your county commissioner, your town commissioner, or your state legislature and say, I'm with the SCV. This is what we believe. They will already heard of the SCV and they know what we believe, and they'll know. They may not admit it, but they'll know we got facts on our side. So that is very, very important.
Yeah, and I always love to hear y'all talk about getting more involved at a local level, and of course using social media. And I think everybody knows I'm a big proponent of that. And let people know you don't if you feel threatened, because as y'all talked about earlier in the show, and I read some more. I'm starting to finally catch up on y'all's book, The South Was Right Again. I finally have taken the time to read it during spring break now that I'm not getting bombarded with stuff that I shouldn't be reading, to be honest with you anyway. Got to get all that fake college stuff out there. But with the Yankee Empire, a lot of people feel threatened or scared to put stuff on social media. They could always make an alias account.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that you guys could still do to use social media. He ain't got no job, LOL. I do have a job. It's called school. Thank you very much, Candyman. But yeah, so I'm just saying there's other ways to fight that enemy. If you're scared about putting it on social media, make an alias account. I just want to say that real quick, and I'll let y'all get back to y'all stuff.
Well, most of our camp members in my camp they're beyond having to worry about it. Either they're on their own business or they're like myself, they're retired, so they're not that concerned. And if you are that concerned, you can always get one of your children, put it on their account, or your neighbor or somebody else. You can always get. But I have yet to have any, and I've got thousands of friends on my account. I've never had any. I've never even been banned, put in a Facebook jail. I watch what I say. I'm very dogmatic. I'm very to the point. But
I've been put in Facebook jail.
Been in jail. But
my last sentence was 45 days.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, getting back to taking our message to the general public. All right, I quit laughing, Moose.
Big nabbit Matt.
But Ron and I have been doing gun shows in Louisiana, and we've had some great luck there. And I am encouraging SCV members and SCV camps to start doing gun shows again. Now, Ron, just give us an idea. What's the main purpose for an SCV camp to do a gun show?
Well, first I'm going to tell you what it is not the purpose. It is not, and it's okay if you get a member or two out of it, but do not go to a gun show expecting to get 5-6 new applications every time you go. That's not going to happen. That's not the purpose. Now, that is a spinoff that will eventually occur. The purpose is to get in front of the general public. We're trying to build coalitions. We're trying to make allies with people who think similarly to us. I mean, I sit down at a gun show or stand up most of the time at a gun show when somebody comes by my table. Oh, y'all with the SCV? What is that? And I say, well, listen, are you opposed to them taking down the Confederate monument of Robert E. Lee? Oh, yeah, I am. I said, well, listen, do you realize that the same bunch of neo-Marxists who are attacking our Confederate heritage are also the same ones trying to get rid of guns and get rid of our Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms. We all are in this fight together. We're fighting the same enemy, that great big old enemy called the Yankee Empire, or the neo-Marxists that control the deep state, whatever you want to call them, but they are not our friends. They are our enemies, but they're also the enemies of Second Amendment folks. When I wrote I won't go. I've got a book on gun control, nullifying gun control, and that gives me an opportunity to talk to them about the fact that the SCV believes in a constitutional government where we, the people, have local self-government. We have the right to nullify federal laws, such as gun control laws, that we do not believe in, that we think that it impacts upon our constitutional right. So you can get more and more people interested in you. So you'll give out Confederate, let's see, we got a Dixie, what is it? A Dixie Defender that is specific to gun shows, created just for gun show people, because it talks more about weapons and guns and gun control and that kind of stuff. But it has SCV ads in it, and it's got information about joining the SCV. But that's the important thing, is to get that message out to the general public. Reach people that would never come to an SCV meeting. It's not that they are opposed to it. It's just not their cup of tea. Like, I'm not going to go sit in a duck line in the middle of bad weather waiting for ducks to fly over so I can shoot them. That's not my thing. But, more power to those who like it. I'll eat the duck. If you want to do some duck sauce pecan, I'll go with you on there now, but I'm not going to go duck hunting, but that's the point. These people that come to these gun shows may not ever want to join the SCV, but they will support, and they are proud Southerners. I have yet, and I'm sure sooner or later we'll get one, but I've never had anyone yet come by and tell me what a horrible thing Southern heritage is. Even the African Americans, they're rather curious when they talk to us, and I've always had a pleasant conversation with them. So I think that the gun shows are a great entree if you go at it with the right attitude. Donald and I never sell enough books at gun shows to pay for our table, much less the expense of hotel, driving, etc. And if Donald hadn't voted for Joe Biden, we wouldn't have $7 a gallon gas coming up. But nonetheless, don't go there expecting to make money. Don't go there expecting to walk out with a pocket full of new applications. That's not going to happen. Glory be to God if it does, but it's most likely not going to happen. But the purpose is to get our message to a group of people that would never come to a rally. They won't even come to a reenactment even, much less a SCV meeting. But they still believe in us. They still believe in what we believe. They love their heritage, and we need to make coalitions with this people, because politically, eventually, we got to do something.
And another important thing is, not only are you building coalition, politicians see us there. So when we go there, the one gun show I went to, and I was really excited when I heard somebody say, well, they've got a Sons of Confederate Veterans table over here. And I walked up on that table, and I'm sorry, fella, the guys that was manning the table looked like they just rolled off of a 3-day drunk. They did not present themselves and our organization very well. So I always tell somebody, have somebody in a Confederate uniform, but don't everybody have a Confederate uniform. Then everybody thinks, oh, that's a reenacting group, and I'm not interested in reenacting. They may be interested in Southern heritage, but one guy in a Confederate uniform draws attention. One guy dress in a casual, a business casual suit, that's fine. Don't everybody be dressed in a coat and tie, because then you're not going to attract people too. There can be people from Metcalf there dressed in their regalia, no problem. But everybody don't be dressed like that, because then you have people think, well, that's just a biker group, and get my kids away from that group real quick. you can have a mixture of people. That really does a better job than just one class of people. So it shows, hey, they've got business people and they got people look like they drive motorcycles. This is an interesting crew. So politicians see that also. And that is something that is very, very important. The more you put our face, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, in front of the public, the more politicians will see it, and the more respect and, more importantly, fear will generate in those people who are so quick to turn their backs on us and jump on the BLM bandwagon. It's the most disgusting thing in the world to see people like Tom Cotton up in Arkansas, a good conservative senator. 90% of the things he says I agree with, but then he gets on national TV and damns our president, the last good president this country has ever had, Jefferson Davis. And he and Biden are using the same talking points. Duh, Senator Cotton, put your thinking cap on. When you start sounding like a liberal progressive Democrat, there's something wrong with your policy. So, we've got to get these politicians where they realize I can't fool with those doggone conservative SCV, or even if they're moderate, middle of the road SCV people, because they love their heritage. And if I attack their heritage, or even look like I'm standing with people who attack their heritage, I'm going to have hell to pay in the next election. And we can do that, folks, but we've got to put ourselves in front of the people in the community. Like Ron said, it's good if you go to a gun show and you get 2 or 3 new members. But that is not the prime purpose at this point in time. Now, if we do everything else that we can do in the Sons of Confederate Veterans that the Confederate Legion is promoting, yes, you're going to reach a point then where you're going to have people looking for your table so they can join. But we're not there yet. We're not even close to being there. So now we've got to work to get into there. And I know I keep looking over my shoulder. There's a clock over here, and I want to get to the one thing that we need to talk about quick. Yeah, yes, sir.
Just right quick. Make sure everyone understands the Dixie Defender is made just strictly for gun shows. It's like the Southern Defender, but it's made strictly for the gun shows, and it has a beautiful ad designed by Ron Kennedy and then improved upon by Frank Powell. So, but and it shows that the ad shows Elm Springs. It shows the picture of Elm Springs, a picture of the museum, the forest, and so people looking at it, they say, "Oh, well, this is a nice." I wish I could hold that up. That's what the ad looks like.
There you go.
Frank Powell's going to make it a little bit better. But if you'll notice at the bottom, there's some QR codes on there as well. So people will take your Dixie Defender and say, "Oh, they got a video about honoring America's military heroes," and they put their phone over it, and bam, it takes them to it. They get to listen to it right away. So it's really designed for a quick, soft sell, as Donald said, and of the SCV. Number one, it is not just a fly-by-night organization. It's a major organization, major headquarters, major museum, major antebellum home, big area up in Kentucky. I'm sorry, Tennessee. Excuse me, Tennesseans. And it's up in Columbia, Tennessee. It will really make a difference. It'll make an impact on the general public. That's why we designed it like that.
Yeah, one of the things that Ron's getting at, a lot of times people see our little table as, let's say we got a gun show coming up here, Ron, in West Monroe. I think you and I and my camp is going to have a table there. Well, they see the SCV table there, and a lot of people think, well, that's just a little local small group. When they pick up this Dixie Defender and see that ad, they'll understand the Sons of Confederate Veterans is a big organization, and they've got a big National Confederate Museum. My goodness, and General Nathan Bedford Forrest is buried there, and they got a beautiful antebellum home. Hey, we ought to go up there and take a look at that. It is advertising for Elm Springs, for the museum, for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and it puts us, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, on a different level than just a fly-by-night little local group. So that's one reason why that ad was designed like that and why it's in there. So, Ron, before we run out of time and Moose cuts us off the air, I need to get to the counterattack that's coming up. That's really in place right now. Will really get rolling this week, and it goes through April. And this counterattack is Confederate veterans are American heroes, and we're looking at Confederate veterans, because we're going through April now, as being American heroes and American veterans. We have radio ads, we have videos, we'll have Southern Defenders, we'll have social media articles that you can post on your social media account about this push. If we could get every SCV camp to get involved and promote this activity in your local community, we can have an impact. And again, this is much like you're showing up at gun shows. When you do things like this, people hear about you and they begin to pick up there's a different side of the story than what I'm being told. And one thing about our side of the story, yes, we are in the minority as far as owning media accounts and propaganda machines, but we own the narrative in that Southerners desire in their heart of hearts to feel good about who they are. We still have that. I think Ron just mentioned that in Louisiana, 70% of the people, now this is about a 2-year-old poll, or maybe 3 now, but 70% of the people positive with answered with positive feelings about Confederate monuments and Southern heritage. We can tap into that. We don't have to own the narrative in the media. All we have to do is get a little of the truth out every now and then, and it will totally destroy the false narrative of our enemies. And that's why Ron and I are so passionate about this, because we understand that we have the facts on our side, we have the truth on our side, we have the people who want to feel good about their heritage. All we have to do is get that information in front of the people. And that is what, every 2 months, the Confederate Legion will announce another counterattack. With each counterattack, we'll have, and Ron, don't let me forget about the letters. We'll have videos, we'll have Southern Defenders, we'll have radio ads, and we'll have letters that your camp can send to people of local influence in your community. Ron, if you don't mind, tell them a little bit about the letters. We're running running out of time here, so try to get this.
Okay. Very quickly, first, somebody had asked the question, where can you get the Dixie Defender? So, Don, when I get through with this, I want you to be able to answer that. Okay. Yeah, that's Horace Fleming. Yes. Hey, yeah. Horace, thanks for the question. I'm going to let my twin brother answer that. But with every counterattack, we send out a little instruction. What I call instructions is really a suggestion for the camp for what you have to do, what you should be doing, and then a template, a letter you can download, and it just gives you a letter. You can say, this we're sending out. You can send this letter on Confederate veterans or American veterans. Send it to the VFW, the American Legion. Send it to the Kiwanis Club. Send it to all the what I call agents of influence in your local community. And in that letter, I'm gonna redo it. I've got to. That's why it's sort of we're running out of time, but I'm gonna redo it so you'll have the QR code in the letter, because we recently did Honoring America's Military Heroes, a new video we did, and we sent out that link on Constant Contact to all the people on our Southern Defender list. I'm sorry, on the Confederate Legion list. But that'll be there. So that letter will be there. You download it. You put your name, your owners, your camp name, your address, and mail it to the various agents of influence in your area. Donald, tell Mr. Fleming about the where to get and when they'll be available.
Right. Right now, Frank Powell is working on the Defender, the Dixie Defender, and I'm expecting him to turn this over just because he doesn't have anything else to do up there in North Carolina. So, I mean, we've already got our Confederate veterans. So, what else he's got to do for the next 2 months? Come on, Frank. Obviously, Frank's not on here, or we'll be hearing from him. But anyway, he will be putting the Dixie Defender together for us, and as soon as it comes out, it will be on we'll put out information via constant contact on our Confederate Legion mailing list about where you can get on. More than likely, you will be sending email either to me or to headquarters. I'm not sure yet how we're going to work that out, but we'll have that in the mail coming out. And it looks like right now, it looks like it's going to cost anywhere from 30 to 35 cents per issue. So you get 10 of them for what, $3.50. Then you got mailing expense. Now, unless I can bring it to you at a meeting or something like that. So now you'll notice in the that Dixie Defender, you'll see some ads for Ron's book on gun control, and on an ad for the South Was Right. If you'll notice at the bottom, it says paid ad. The Kennedys are paying for this ad. And one of the reasons we can lower the price on these Dixie Defenders because we got paid ads there. I might not be every 1,000 run we do, I have to pay those ads. So I don't know if somebody else wants an ad in there, they'll let me know. We'll be glad to let you put your ad in there. We only have so much ad space, but right now I knew Ron and I would fork up the money for the ads. That helps to reduce the cost, and it should. And I told Frank, and Frank said he would put on there a little notation. Paid ad. So now the ad for the SCV, it doesn't say that because heck, SCV owns this, so we don't pay ourselves, and the Kennedy twins and don't get paid for it. So anyway, that's how that's going to be handled, and just keep an eye on your email. If you're not a member of the Confederate Legion, please join up. If you're not getting your notice on constant contact, you may email me. My email is all over the internet. It's on headquarters on the SCV.org. Look under for Chief of Heritage Operation. You've got I believe my phone number as well as my email address. Just email me if you're not getting updates from the Confederate Legion. If you're a member and if you're having trouble, let me know. As I said, we're working on our website. We got bugs to work out, but we will do it. So I'll be glad to help out, and we want to get these gun shows. Now these ads, these Dixie Defenders, you don't have to just give them out at gun shows. I mean, you can go to any number of events. If you have a civic event in your local community, it's an outdoor event. You got a lot of people coming through. It works great there too. The main thing is that it's, like Ron said, it's soft sell. It's not a heavy in your face. Our heritage is under attack. You've got to come and help us as quick as you. It's none of that. It's a soft sell. It puts SCV on a good footing. People will hopefully respect us and see that we are an organization. Man, that just the idea of that headquarters and museum being there, forest being interred on our property, and Elm Spring, a beautiful antebellum home, that lets people know we're not just a fly-by-night organization or group. And with that said, Moose, I'm looking at my clock. It looks like we're running close on time, so I'm going to throw it back to you, and Ron may have a question.
Yeah, Horace Fleming has a question. Who can we contact for the cost of the ads in the Dixie Defender? Get a hold of Donald.
Yeah, so get a hold of the Chief of Heritage Operation. He ain't got nothing else to do. I'll be glad to help out. Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, please just email. You got my email there, and because we're hoping we're printing up 1,000 right now just to see how it's going to go. If it goes well, we'll just hit the wall, and I'm gonna need a lot because I cannot afford to pay ads on 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Ron and I have limited resources, but we're glad to do what we're doing because it's for the cause.
Oh, yes, sir. And thank you. And of course, you can get our Chief of Heritage Operations contact information from SCV And of course, if you are not a member of the Confederate Legion, please go to www.makedixiegreatagain.org or .com and join today. As I said, it is a great cause. We have been talking about what they're doing just this month alone. I was about to say, y'all have been doing this stuff for the past 4 years, so ooh, God bless y'all soul. But they've been fighting the good fight for a long time now. They always are doing great things. They always are able to, save us here at the chat if we don't have a guest, or, just come on and talk about what they're doing to let everybody know and get the word out. So we can't thank them enough for coming on. Please remember that our show Thursday, Look Around the Confederation, we have a good episode planned. We have a good topic planned. I'm trying to see if I can get a guest, but the guest doesn't have to be on for the topic. So if you have any news or anything you'd like to talk about, please email scvyouthOutreach@gmail.com. Be on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation, which is on Thursday at 7 Confederate Standard Time.
There you go.
Matt, you have anything you want to say?
Nope. I want to thank the Kennedys for coming on tonight. We appreciate you guys coming on. It's always good to have you. It's a big draw when we have you guys on, so we really enjoy it.
So we had four people on today. How's that too?
Well, yeah, all right, man. Hey, we averaged around 50 live views. That's really good. That'll get shared out, and a lot of people will see this. So we appreciate you guys coming on. Remember, every week, tune in Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and on Thursdays at 7 o'clock for Look Around. Guys, we enjoyed having you on. Thank y'all so much. It was fun being behind the scenes tonight, being in the chat a little bit. I enjoyed that. So anyway, where are we signing off, Moose?
All right. Do you world famous Kennedy twins have anything else you want to say to everybody?
Yes. Good night.
Just thank everybody.
All right.
Donnie,
As we always say, no Fumar.
No Fumar in the elevator.
No Fumar in the elevator.